There is a war raging as we speak. Millions die every day, even as we gain ground. Eventually, we think we have done enough and try to dig in. However, it finds a way behind our lines and spreads its pain and suffering. Mothers lose their sons, fathers lose their wives, sons lose their brothers, and yet we don't commit to fighting it. As billions die and the rivalries among our governments distract us from opportunities to defeat even one of our enemies. We surrender planet after planet to these diseases, yet calls to fight back are pushed aside. For some, the cost of defending every single planet against this threat is too high. For others, new job opportunities it brings about outweigh the costs of eliminating those jobs. And for a few, removing these diseases is seen as betraying our pasts because an illness cannot exist without a carrier. For thousands of years, approaching their first 10,000, these illnesses have plagued our galaxy without ever being eradicated. Some illnesses are worse than others, yet they still spread. The vast size of the galaxy has made curing diseases seem impossible. On top of that, there has never been a framework for wiping out an illness, other than allowing it to run its course and hoping people die faster than they infect. Yet, people went about their lives without thinking about the monster that follows them. The debate about whether it was possible reignited after humanity's introduction to galactic society. Humanity entered the galactic stage armed to the teeth, with ships boasting guns the size of ships and armor so thick that breaching their airlocks was a challenge. This earned humans a reputation as angry, small, rabid creatures, at least on the galactic web, and placed humanity as the second major military power in the galaxy within a few years. However, as human forces became more prominent in galactic peacekeeping, something was noticed. Humans never got sick, at least not severely. There were no stories of entire human forces becoming inoperable due to sickness, nor of human leaders dying from plagues. So, investigations began. Governments were the first, but they couldn't believe the results. Humanity had suffered from illnesses far worse than most in the galaxy: malaria, Ebola, bird flu, and the most horrific of all, the Black Death. These diseases could easily have claimed the top spot among the galaxy's worst killers, yet they were nowhere to be found. Humanity had achieved what no other species had managed. They eradicated their deadliest killers. So why hadn't we? The question spread faster than any illness in the galaxy. People realized that we might not have to face such monsters again, but many resisted these questions. We were not unfamiliar with the idea of vaccination, but no one had invested in it to the extent humans had. They developed methods that could be added to food and ingested, inadvertently helping to eradicate what they called the common cold. However, what we were unaccustomed to was humanity's greatest ally in their war on sickness, the bacteriophage. Through some stroke of luck, a creature evolved whose sole purpose was to kill bacteria, perhaps because survival on Earth was so difficult that even something half alive had to fight hard. Yet, counter-arguments persisted. The argument shifted from, "It's impossible," to, "It's practically impossible on the scale we are spread across today." Some governments wondered if there would be economic benefits or gains from committing so much to something that would only lead to job losses and increased government spending. Years passed, and the argument of feasibility was challenged when, with human assistance, a program to eradicate the Red Pula disease began. Most governments allowed human and Ulian ships into their space to offer free vaccinations and incentives. Progress was slow, painfully so. It started with a town, then a city. Slowly, entire planets were declared clean. However, even as people on those planets questioned why their children continued to be vaccinated, the latest update on the virus became more distant. These arguments lessened after an entire chain of FTL lanes was infected again, costing billions. Gradually, infections decreased from trillions to billions, then to hundreds of thousands, and finally to thousands. The last report of the virus was on a slum world on the outskirts of the galaxy 50 years after the program began. Afterward, calls for the eradication of the next disease dominated discussions. Economic benefits had just begun to be seen, but that wasn't what people cared about. They began to remember family members lost to something they couldn't see, something that tormented them into immobility and then death. Humanity gave voice to the rage of 1 billion lost souls, crying out for vengeance. Thousands of efforts began in the past year. We know we will be late for many, but if it means saving one more life than the day before, if it means reclaiming one more inch of land from the old gods, we will do it. Only when the cries of 1 trillion fallen find their vengeance will we rest. This story is to the brave people who worked to eradicate smallpox. Though you were too late for millions, you were just in time to save billions more. Humanity, fuck yay.